The number one takeaway is the Chiefs offense is ready to roll. It's going to look a bit different, but they are set for the regular season tonight on Locked On Chiefs Live.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom, the day after the morning after the game. Hope that you're having a good one, and we're going to break it all down on the Chiefs versus Cardinals. Lot to say there. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Check out another Locked On show for your next listen because we got them all covered all around the league. Everybody got some action that you're going to want to know about. We are going to go over the Chiefs versus Cardinals today because it stands very clear to me that they have enough to go to the regular season right now, in my estimation. Chris might think that I'm crazy, and that's okay. But we're going to talk about who deserves more looks, all kinds of things going out of this game into week 2, which is maybe the most transformative of any preseason. What needs to change for the better? That's coming up later in the show. Who earned more looks? That comes next. There are lots of guys in that category, and we start with the first team offense in all of its shades here. Lot to talk about. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, as well as NFL33.com and RGRFootball.com. This is Chris Clark. Over at KC Chiefs Corner, you can see his Substack. We've been on this show for 9 years and covering this team for over 15, give or take. Listen to Brian. Hit that like button. That would very much help. We appreciate you. And maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic, but I believe that what we saw, especially from taking an opportunity that they got off of a turnover, that on rewatch this morning, it came to me like this is a team that can walk into the regular season right now and compete. Is it perfect? By no means. But with Rice out, with Hollywood out, being able to throw the ball to the guy that's on our thumbnail tonight in Brownlee, who just maybe, 3-4 practices started to come on. And by doing maybe my favorite play of the entire night, including all the Carson Steele action, actually running an RPO slant to Tyquan Thornton was the epitome of, okay, we can do something new and different and be more aggressive this season.
It's interesting to me because I look at what they did last night on offense, and you come out the first play and you get a great Pacheco run, 9 yards, and the offensive line fired off. Pacheco was running hard. It looked like he had a little bit of explosion that I didn't remember him having last year. So he looked a little bit better than I was expecting him to. And then you get into watching Mahomes, and he only had one throw that counted because the other one, there was a penalty. The one on to Tyquan Thornton, there was a penalty. And the one thing I will say is they said it on the broadcast. They said it was a good throw. I don't think it was a good throw. I think it was an okay throw. Brownlee made a great catch. I think Mahomes would have liked that a little bit more inside to give Brownlee something where he didn't have to stretch out as far. But it goes to show a guy that has started to come on in camp, and Mahomes trusts him because he's out there with the first team offense, and that play was designed for him. Mm-hmm. That was a designed back shoulder throw to Brownlee of all people, not Worthy, not Travis Kelce, not Tyquan Thornton, not Noah Gray, not any of the other options, Juju Smith-Schuster. Brownlee. Jason Brownlee was the one that play was designed for. So to me, that tells me everything I need to know. The Chiefs want to see more from him, and he delivered when it mattered most.
Well, and more importantly, because I do believe that there was a lot of general rules out there on that side as well throughout the night, but it also tells me that they're going to throw that back shoulder ball to the outside in the end zone and let the big body guys go get it. Whether it was specifically for Brownlee or for that X position to run that particular route, we haven't seen them do that a whole ton the last couple of years. That, again, is showing me the aggression with the call and the aggression with the throw, and they're willing to go back to it. Because honestly, had it not been for the penalty, if that had been a clean route, I think Thornton would have scored on the play before, and they wouldn't have even run that one, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, probably. It looked like it was a little throw, but a little low, but looked like Thornton was probably going down for it, but also got tripped up and held with the defensive pass interference. But I do think that when you watch this, the thing that we couldn't see was Mahomes take a deep shot because they didn't have a chance. Mahomes was only in there for 3 plays, and they started on I can't remember, what was it, like the 10-yard line, something like that. I mean, it was just or the 20-yard line. I mean, they were ridiculously close with the first play. So that happens, and you don't get a chance to see them be aggressive that way. But you see them be aggressive another way. They're doing the the run pass option to Tyquan Thornton and it gets a penalty. Then they go back to a back shoulder fade, which they've rarely ever used in Kansas City. And they're using it in Mahomes' only drive last night. But the thing that really stuck out to me, and I know we're talking first team, but the thing that also stuck out when you start talking about aggression is second and third and even fourth team to an extent took the ball down the field. They pushed the ball. Mm-hmm. That tells me that the offense is designed to be looking downfield. I understand the first team didn't do it, and that's what we're talking about, but I think that they would have had they had the chance.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I thought with 4 snaps for Xavier Worthy, didn't go to him, didn't look at Travis. Like you said, like they're trying to make sure that they're aggressive, but in a way that allows new voices to be heard, especially with the ones. Now, I'll call the first team offense the part where Mahomes left the field and Travis left the field, but you still have the offensive line out there. You still had some of those guys, including Thornton, rotating in, who was with the ones there. I thought I saw positive things from Jalen Royals as part of the first offense, I'm still going to call it. And I do think that while there were a couple of things here and there that I would tweak on the offensive line, I thought the offensive line unit as a whole looked decent against what I think was not a very threatening Cardinals front, but they did their job. The only guy that I have some, I won't even say criticism for, but I have some pointers for, Kingsley's got to get his pad level down. He's got to get that first step, get out of that hole. Those are the two things to me that there's a lot of like hubbub on Twitter about, X, about some of the one play where he got beat because he got his chest open and he got pushed back. If he keeps his pads down, he's going to be fine. I think he's learning to play in that phone booth a little bit more, and that'll continue.
Oh, that's a great point. Exactly what you just said. It's learning to play in the phone booth, learning to play in the confined space. He's been used to being outside and having a lot more space to work. Now you don't have that. You have to learn to keep your legs under you, to keep your legs, keep your base strong and keep your pad levels down. And I think that that's just going to be something that's going to come with time. I still liked what I saw from the first team offensive line, regardless. I'm not going to worry about the mess up with the snap with Gardner Minshew and Creed Humphrey, because I do think that's them not having any time working together. In a left-handed snapper to a guy that's never probably taken something from or a snap from a left-handed is probably a little weird. When you look at the offense, though, in general, they wanted to go downfield. Even Minshew tried to throw the ball downfield. He was looking downfield. The offensive line, generally speaking, was giving him the time to look downfield. And the thing that's so encouraging is what we saw in training camp and what Mahomes has been trying to do the entire time in training camp is push the ball downfield. And that is what we saw the offense do the entire night last night. They tried to throw the ball downfield. They may not have been very successful, but still pushing it and still trying is a lot. There's a lot of importance there, because you absolutely need to be pushing the ball down the field and attacking.
There's one term that we'll talk about later that I think that kind of overemphasizes what happened later in the game with not the ones, not even the 2s, 3s, etc., mostly the 3s. It all comes back to how you manage that aggression, and I'm just excited to be able to be talking about an aggressive Chiefs offense. But you got to get the guys that stood out and took a step forward more times so you can see how much you have to do it to stand out together. Brownlee is one of them. They're coming up next. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy, and it's the best time of the year because the NFL kickoff is almost here, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. This year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. This year, me and Locked On Chiefs are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, so you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league, you can get into it. My main league is over 20 years old, and it's been on Yahoo forever. Make sure you check this out, because to celebrate their 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over the 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped the Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated from the league each week until there's only one left standing. And this season, it's just around the corner. Now's the time to get your league together and give it a try in a new mode, whether it's one of the classics, this guillotine, or head-to-head, or you can just join a normal public league like you have in the past. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Now, earning time is a relative thing because you're not just competing against the team that you're playing. You're competing against other players on this roster. If you want to know more about what's going around the league, check out NFL33.com, where we cover the league that isn't Kansas City, and go over to KC Chiefs Kingdom, Chiefs Corner, for Chris's work as well. Now, we talked several guys we thought really stood out last night. I don't know that we have to rehash them, but there were several. But it came to me that, and I put Brownlee on the thumbnail because I don't think we talked enough about the wide receiver group actually not playing as though it were a depleted unit with 2 of your 3 starters out. I was really happy to see what Royals did. I was surprised that Sky Moore was out there predominantly in the absolute first half. I didn't see any snaps from him or see any recorded for him in the second half. There was one Royals screen that was absolutely destroyed because Sky couldn't get a block. So I understand why he didn't get more action later. But I was really happy with Royals. Obviously, Brownlee did the big thing. A couple of guys late had some action, but who stood out to you?
So I know we kind of talked about him a little bit yesterday, but I don't think we gave him enough flowers. I guess I'll put it that way. I thought Remigio, on specifically his route to the outside, where he got his body down, knowing that there's not much of a chance for him to get both feet down. He got his body down. It looks like it's small. It looks like it's an easy play. It's not. And it's huge at this level because you absolutely have to be able to get your feet down. Look at what happened later in the game. And I don't remember, was it Presley or Priest? I think it was Presley later in the game with Oladokin, who we thought it was a fantastic catch. And it ended up not being a catch because he couldn't get his feet down. And
yeah, it looked good,
huh?
It looked good, though.
Oh, it looked fantastic. And Oladokin made a play that reminded me of Patrick Mahomes. And I don't say that lightly. Like,
right.
It was funny because you watch him and he's running with the ball in his left hand, in his offhand, and switches it back to his right to throw it. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, I have shades of Patrick Mahomes doing that. But you watch this offense, and Nico Remigio on a kick return, not a punt return, a kick return had a return that went to almost midfield. Mm-hmm. We talked about how he's going to make this team. It's going to be through special teams. It's going to be through the punt returner, but it also could be as a kick returner. He showed why he is probably kick returner 1 for this team right now last night. And then he followed it up with a great reception later in getting his feet down or getting his leg down near the sideline. That is a play that a pro receiver has to make. And doing that, I think, is going to speak volumes to the receivers coach and Andy Reid and this offense.
Yeah, I agree with you. One more note on the wide receivers group. I wrote this in my notes as I was taking them live. Don't throw the ball to Badger anymore. He showed me all I need to know. I need him on this practice squad. Do not display him any longer because I think he can grow into a guy that can make the roster next year.
Did you see what he did? Did you see what they did or what his penalty was?
I did not. I did not get back that far in the rewatch for that specific purpose.
Okay, well, I looked and I couldn't find it, so I don't know exactly what it was that he did, but maybe that'll keep people from wanting to have him on the roster. Who knows?
I can check that out, but I'll do that here as you comment. The offensive line was straightforward, absolutely chalk, with the starting 3, Caliano, Norzad, Hansen playing the 2s through the 3s, and then the guys that were scraping to try to make the practice squad. Defensive line was kind of all over the place. Who stood out to you on second take?
Yeah, again, I think that Omar Norman-Lott, I think, stood out a little bit. Just his push. It wasn't necessarily that he got pressure and that he provided a lot of pass rush. It was just his get off the ball and how much he was out there. I think that's the other thing that really stood out to me because he came in early in the first quarter. I believe I saw him out there rotating in with the second unit early in the first quarter. And then he was still playing in the third. To me, when you look at what they were worried about with him, he has to be able to play a ton of snaps for this defense to be somebody that's going to help them a lot. And getting him a lot of snaps in this game made a lot of sense to me. Pass rush, they need to get better at it. They're going to have to get after it. But at the same time, Kansas City, generally speaking, when you watch how they've done and how they've won the pass rush in the past, they win with their scheme and they win with how they attack. And that's not something you're going to see a ton of in the preseason because they're going to go very vanilla and they're just trying to see what guys can do at the base levels.
Well, I have a question for you because this is one of the guys that I think who will earn more snaps here. He is one of my guys, so you tell me if I'm crazy. A lot of folks today are lauding Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who did get some pressure, played a ton of snaps. I think it was 36 total, the most of any defensive lineman. But he got it all against 2s and 3s. Yeah, that's the thing. Ashton Gillotte was out there with Charles Omenihu as the second group. And I think Ashton outplayed him right now, walking in the door. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I think Gillotte looked really good from what I saw. I think he also got a penalty called against him, but you're going to have that. It's a preseason. You got to learn what you can and can't get away with, and it is what it is. As far as I'm concerned, FAU, I think he's probably on the roster, but he's probably on the roster because he's a first-round pick and not because I think he's earning it. We'll see whether or not that ends up being the case when the roster cuts come down. And it would stink if they if they decide to go a different direction. But at the same time, he got his pressures against the 3s for the most part. Like you can feel good about him getting pressure, but when you look at the fact that he's playing against guys that aren't probably going to be on an NFL roster in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that's not a great sign. Yeah. For a guy that was a first-round pick, he should be destroying and getting a ton of pressure. He should have been getting – how many snaps did he have? How many did you say he had?
36, I believe, the most 36? Of the defensive line unit of the entire front.
Yeah, and he had, 3 pressures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at pass rush snaps to give you a percentage, but Fabian Lovett was the best ranked pass rusher according to PFF. And again, he did it all against 3s too. But he's a UDFA. You know what I mean? Like that's the value that you have to keep in mind here as you see grades. People are going to be spewing PFF grades at you all week. Just take them with a giant chunk of salt, maybe a block at this point, and we'll get there. But there are guys. There are things that need to change too, because there are some negatives. As much as we want to see guys get more rosters, Bailey's got to change things, and I freely admit that. There are a couple other guys as well, and they're next.
Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends and family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merchandise, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal? Game Time zone deals pick the best seats in the section for you. Seat views right in the app before you buy so you know exactly where you'll be. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKED ONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
What needs to change? We'll have this for you all week. We're going to see what changes tomorrow. Monday's practice is usually the day that I'm at camp. I'm not going to make it this particular season because they take this film, game number 1, they break it all down and they make their adjustments. A couple of things are clear to me, though. When you take a look at the snap counts, particularly on the defensive side, there is a group of starters that played 7 or 8 snaps and came out of the game, and they were done, and that was it. Surprising to me, and I want to know your reaction, one safety that was in that group, and it was not Brian Cook, and it was not Jaden Hicks, it was Chamari Connor, that is clearly with the starting group with Nick Bolton, Leo Chenal, Karlaftis, Mike Dana. They all played 8 snaps and got out of Dodge. And Chamari was one of them. Does that surprise you?
No. It doesn't surprise me from the simple fact that that's kind of the way that things have been going at camp. It surprises me for the simple fact that I thought Jaden Hicks would be a starter, and I don't understand how he's not going to be on the field on a regular basis. Maybe they're going to go to a lot of 3 safety looks, and he's just going to be on the field by default. And maybe that's kind of the way that this is going to work. And Connor's just going to be their starter and is going to get maybe the majority of the snaps. But if you go back and watch Kansas City defense last year, Justin Reid almost never came off the field. He was on the field every single snap. So if you're telling me that Connor is going to be, I'm not trying to say he's Justin Reid, but if you're going to tell me he's basically taking over Reid's role, that is a little surprising. But based on what we've seen at camp, that's kind of what it seems like Kansas City wants to do. And he's still going to be the nickel guy, which I still don't understand.
I got to tell you, I'm surprised by it. He played one drive, whereas both Cook and Hicks played 3 drives. No, Hicks actually got in on the first drive. So he was in on the first 4. But it is Chamari Connor, not Brian Cook, that got off the field first and had his night come to an end, same time as Trent McDuffie. Now, Jalen Watson, obviously, with the concussion issue, he played 2 drives. Later, it was Najee Johnson, Roland Wallace, and Noel Williams got the bulk of the snaps and played all through that second quarter and into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drives. That tells you the order right there. I don't see anything that needs to change with that except for the Watson injury. I don't see anybody, despite Najee's issues, that deserves to go up into that spot. Do you?
I think by default, Christian Fulton is going to. I don't know exactly how that's going to play into things on Monday. Maybe he doesn't start off with the starters. Maybe they work him in with the 2s to start with and, keep Najee Johnson out there as a starter for right now. But I would imagine Christian Fulton's going to be a starter as of week 1. So that I think is going to be one of those things to watch. I think Christian Fulton is going to be somebody that's going to start and going to play a lot of snaps for this Chiefs team. So hopefully he's gotten healthy and gotten over what he has been dealing with injury-wise. And I expect that when we get into next week, maybe Fulton plays a little bit more than even the normal first team if they want to get him some extra snaps, knowing that he's missed the other time that he could play.
I'm with you. Now, at the highlight position, I was happy with what Minshew did. I felt like he stood in there pretty good. He could have, I think, maybe moved around the pocket a tad better. But I think that's getting a feel for the guys in front of you. And as you pointed out last night, getting thrown in there after just 3 plays on the first drive, like that was a group that he doesn't generally practice with. So I think that played part of that factor. Now, again, going back to the aggression, I do think it was there. And I think that's why they gave Bailey so much rope. And if you're in that situation, I know sometimes coaches will say, you know what, just be aggressive. It's the preseason. We want to see what you can do. I hope now that they see Bailey will pull the trigger. So now it's up to Bailey Zappi, who a lot of people are down on today, and I am. It's being Bailey in a foxhole at this point. I still think he can be a third quarterback. He's got to tone it down. This second preseason game, he's going to get some time. I don't think it was enough for Chris Oladokun to play more than him because they know Chris so much. But he's got to be on point. He's got to protect the ball more while being aggressive. Controlled aggression is the name of the game for him.
I'll be curious to see if they flip him for this next game. It may not be who is really where. It just could be a situation of we're going to flip him and give Oladokun, the third snaps. And the reality is that I know we're talking, what's going to happen with Seattle, but the reality is that I don't know that maybe Gardner Minshew plays a couple of series in the third preseason game against Chicago, but that third preseason game is mainly going to be Bailey Zappi and Chris Oladokun the entire game. So you're going to get to see both of them. You're going to get an idea of what both of those guys can do. And I wonder if they give Oladokun a chance to go up with the other, with the third tier, with the third string guys to see if he can do anything to kind of give it a level competition. So you have them going with the same type of players. But we'll see. I'm very curious to see what they're able to do. I like that Zappi was aggressive. I like that he wanted to throw the ball down the field, but I thought his decision-making and his placement really was poor when he was attacking downfield. So I like the aggression. I like that the offense was trying to take those types of shots, and that's exactly what I want to see from the offense. But you have to make good decisions. And, it's the preseason, so you can get away with that kind of stuff, and it's not a big deal. And at the end of the day, you don't really care if you win or lose the preseason game. I know the coaches will say they want to win, and I understand that. But at the same time, the reality is all you really care about is, did you get what you wanted to get done? Did you get good tape to evaluate the people that you want to be able to evaluate? And did you get out of the game mostly healthy? If you can do all of those things,
right,
it's pretty much a win, even if you don't win.
That's a W. Casey, Eric, thank you. I wanted to get your Bailey comments up there. You guys also had a couple of other guys that I do think needs to change, and I should have put them in the last piece. We talked a ton about Bassa live post game last night, so if you missed that, go back and check that out. And don't worry, we're going to have content for you all week long as we have tight turnaround for a shorter week this week. Matt will be back with us, so make sure you're subscribed. If you're with us tonight, we'll be live later in the week, or at least we'll have content for you. Noah Williams, I also believe deserves more time. He's in that upper group, clearly one of the top 6, including Fulton. But I think I want to see him a little bit more. And I also want to see Espole. I haven't gotten through the fourth quarter yet on the rewatch, but what I saw left me feeling like I want Jalen Moore to cut down his splits. I want to be a little bit tighter to Trey Smith because I felt like he gave up some gap there that maybe put him in a difficult position. But I think Pole deserves some time with the twos, and I'd like to see him rotate in there. They didn't rotate a whole lot on the offensive line. It was very, very clean when the changes came around. So I want to see some mix and matching. Yeah,
no, they didn't. And I'll be curious to see about Pole. The guy that I'm going to be really curious about for this next week and the week after is Ethan Driscoll didn't play. Didn't know of an injury, didn't play. A guy that made the roster last year. And I know we're talking about things that need to change, but this is something that I should have said with the first team offense in the first segment, so I apologize. I loved watching Josh Simmons get off the ball as quick as he did. That was impressive. His fire off the ball, his ability to stay between his block, the guy he's blocking and the quarterback was very impressive, and I'm really excited to see what he can continue to do. His feet were really good. I don't like that he let people get into his body near as much as he did, but you're going to learn things.
Yeah, his hands were a bit late, and honestly,
so there's something to change.
Yeah, absolutely, and a little bit low. And I need to talk more to the guys who get to speak to him because his body language to me came off as, I got this, I ain't too worried. And hey, kid, this is the NFL. You need to worry, even if you are that good. Get your stuff together because I think he can be dominant this year after watching what he did last night. That's Josh Simmons.
It was impressive. I cannot remember the last time the Chiefs had a left tackle that could do what I saw him do last night. And
Fish didn't
I was
move
watching.
Like that.
What was that?
Fish didn't even move like that.
No. And I watched Jeff Schwartz broke down all the snaps from Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia in a 13-minute segment. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on X. But one of the things I do agree with that he said is you watch Simmons and he gets off the ball almost like Jawan Taylor. And I know a lot of people are going to say that's a problem because Taylor's been called for a false start. I don't think that it looked like he was getting off the ball right when the ball was snapped every single time. And that speed, his ability to get to where he needs to be in his positioning is going to be something that's going to be a lot of fun for Kansas City.
Yeah,
I am going to be curious, though, if they work with him because it looked like his stance kind of told you whether or not it was going to be a run or a pass.
That's another very good takeaway, like especially when he kicked it almost vertically back behind him. I think he might have been playing some games. I think needs to shore those games up, to tell you the truth. But I am looking here to see, just to double check last season for him in terms of penalties. And he played part of 5 fulls and began Oregon, right? 1 penalty for the season. So that tells you he's got that timing down. It seems that he's adapted to the quarterback, and that's all a good sign. Let us know what else you would like to see. We're going to get more information tomorrow. We'll have another show for you tomorrow, but we'd like to know your comments tonight here on YouTube. Hit us down below in the comments here and enjoy it. We are excited. I'm very excited, especially about a guy that we'll talk about tomorrow. He's got long hair. I think you guys are going to dig it. We're going to have more on that. Don't miss it as we get ready for preseason game number 2. I know, right? And when you go back and look at it, it's like,
that's interesting.
All power backs. It was 1, 2, 3 power backs, and the way that they used them last night. So
yeah,
that's also an interesting takeaway. So we'll be back with you tomorrow. Make sure you check us out. Thanks for being here tonight. And the sub, it can happen on YouTube. It can happen on audio. It can go wherever you want because we are free and available everywhere that you could think of. And We got that much more on KC Chiefs Corner, NFL 33, and RGR Football. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll check you out tomorrow.